Hi, I'm Connor Morrison, 36. And I learned the hard way that in some families, being reliable is just another way of disappearing quietly. It happened at my brother's housewarming party, the same house I funded with $12,000 of my savings. He called it a family event. My name wasn't on the welcome board. And when I pointed it out, he smiled and said, "Oh, this is just immediate family." Immediate family? That word kept echoing in my head while I stood in his spotless kitchen holding a soda can, trying to figure out what part of me wasn't immediate enough for the kid whose emergencies I'd been quietly financing for 8 years. Then the catering invoice showed up, $2,400, addressed to me. Apparently, my name wasn't on the guest list, but it was on the bill. And that's when my wife, Jennifer, bless her, did something that changed everything. She stepped between me and the caterer, looked her straight in the eye, and said, "He's not on the invite list. Please give that to the homeowner." The silence that followed hit harder than any speech I'd ever heard. That night, I didn't just walk away from the party. I walked away from the role I had played my whole life. The dependable brother. The invisible fixer. The walking ATM with no name. And I'll tell you this much. If you ever want to find out who really sees you, I mean really sees you, say no once. Just once. And then watch what happens. The morning after the housewarming was quiet, too quiet. I woke up to 17 missed calls and 23 texts, all variations of the same frantic energy. "Derek, call me back." What the hell happened? You made a scene. You embarrass me. Please fix this. Call Mom. Call Dad. We're all upset. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table, coffee in hand, Jennifer next to me in her robe, and I opened my laptop. I pulled up my old transaction records, bank transfers, Venmo payments, Zelle receipts, every quiet little bailout I'd given Derek over the past 8 years. I'm an accountant. I keep records. I log everything. By the time I was done, I had a spreadsheet detailing $73,400 in financial support. 73 grand. Rent, car repairs, utility bills, overdraft coverages, a vacation he couldn't afford, the infamous down payment, emergency room visits, gym memberships, phone bills, security deposits. It was all there. I stared at that total for a long time. It felt like looking at the autopsy report of a relationship I didn't realize had already died. Jennifer leaned over, read the number, and whispered, "Connor, that's a down payment on our own place." I nodded. It was also our dream trip to Italy. The baby fund we hadn't really dared talk about. The rainy day cushion I'd never used because someone else was always standing out in the storm. I started shutting it all down. Autopays cancelled. Shared accounts locked. Phone lines disconnected. Derek's car insurance? Gone. Gym? Cut. Netflix? No more Derek, profile mooching off my account. Every ding from my phone, alerts, warnings, failed payments, was like a piece of my past falling away. And for once, instead of feeling panic, I felt lighter. Jennifer just watched me, quiet but proud, her hand on my back. That night, Derek tried a new number. Then another. Then another. Each message shifting tones like he was throwing darts in the dark, first angry, then pleading, then manipulative, then self-pitying. I didn't answer a single one. And then, 5 days later, I picked up a call from Rachel, Derek's girlfriend. She didn't scream. She didn't accuse. Her voice cracked once, and then she told me the truth. They were drowning. 2 credit cards maxed from the catering bill. Mortgage due in 5 days. No insurance on the car. No money for groceries. No idea what to do next. I didn't say much. When she asked if I expected the $12,000 back, I told her no. But when she asked why now, why I had stopped, I gave her one answer. Because your boyfriend told me I wasn't immediate family. But he handed me the bill like I was. She didn't respond. I hung up. And for the first time in years, I felt like I was doing more than just surviving. I was finally living. 3 weeks after the housewarming, I got a letter. An actual letter. Not a text. Not an email. Not a voicemail filled with sighs and manipulative guilt. A real, handwritten, 3-page letter from Derek. The envelope was plain. My name scribbled across the front in his slanted handwriting. No return address. I almost threw it out. Jennifer caught me hovering over the trash can. "Just open it," she said gently, tea in hand. "You'll regret it if you don't." So I did. Page 1 started with an apology, sort of. Derek said he understood why I was upset. He said he hadn't realized how much I'd done for him. That it had never been his intention to take me for granted. That if I felt erased, he was sorry. But somewhere in the middle of page 2, the tone changed. Slipped. His words got slippery. He started talking about how hard things have been lately. How the house was a stretch. How Rachel was stressed beyond belief. He said the catering bill blindsided him. Said I should have come to him, man to man, instead of causing a scene. Said Mom and Dad were really disappointed in both of us for letting things escalate like this. And then page 3, page 3. That's where he asked for help. Again. Just until we stabilize. He wrote, I promise it'll be different this time. I promise I'll pay you back. I've learned my lesson. I read it all twice. Then I walked over to the shredder in the corner of the room, fed it through page by page, and watched it turn to strips. Jennifer didn't say a word. She just smiled. A proud, relieved kind of smile. The kind that said, good. You're finally seeing it. A month later, Aunt Linda called. Small talk at first. Then she let it slip. Derek and Rachel had sold the house. Foreclosure hadn't hit yet, but they were close. Too many missed payments. Too many late fees. They'd moved into a 2-bedroom rental. No backyard. No deck. No curated welcome board. Just beige carpet and a broken garbage disposal. I didn't say much. Aunt Linda waited, then said, Your mom's been quiet lately. Haven't heard from her much. She's not taking sides, you know. I didn't answer that either. Mom stopped calling after the 3rd week. I think she finally got it, that this wasn't a tantrum, or a bad mood, or a midlife crisis. It was a shift. Permanent. Unyielding. Dad sent me one text. Just one. Dad, I don't agree with what you did. But I understand why you did it. I didn't reply. But I read it about 17 times over the next few days. 2 months after the party, Jennifer and I went out to dinner. Nice place. One of those. White tablecloth, candles on the table, don't ask about the price of wine. Kind of places. We were celebrating something, though either of us said exactly what. Halfway through the meal, she reached across the table and took my hand. I'm proud of you, she said. I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who had stood beside me, drawn a line when I couldn't, who had seen me when I felt invisible. Thank you, I said, my voice catching. She squeezed my hand. You don't have to be invisible anymore, Connor. And for the first time in a very long time, I smiled. Not polite. Not strained. Not the I'm fine smile. A real one. Full and honest. We walked home hand in hand, city lights casting a soft glow over the sidewalk. The air was cool and crisp. Stars visible above the buildings. And I thought about how strange it was that sometimes, losing everything you were propping up is exactly how you start standing on your own. The silence lasted 6 weeks. No calls. No texts. No more letters. For the first time in years, my phone was quiet. My accounts were untouched. My inbox didn't include any panicked. Can you spot me till Friday? Messages. I didn't wake up wondering what fire I'd be expected to put out next. At first, it was disorienting. I'd built my identity around being the one who always shows up. It was muscle memory to say yes. To plug financial holes I didn't make. To brace for the next favor. That wasn't really a favor. But now, the stillness wasn't empty. It was healing. Jennifer and I started going on long walks after dinner. We spent weekends planning small trips, laughing over takeout on the floor, talking about things we'd put off for years. We'd say things like, maybe we could start trying in the fall. Or, should we look at houses on the east side? Conversations that once felt like daydreams now felt like possibilities. And then, just when I thought the past had finally left the chat, Mom called. I let it ring out. Voicemail. Her voice was tight-clipped. Not angry exactly. But the disappointment was laced between every word. Connor, I don't know what this phase is, but it's gone far enough. Your brother made a mistake. He's young. He's learning. But turning your back on family like this? That's not the son I raised. You've always been the strong one. The reliable one. And now, when he actually needs you. I hit delete before she finished. That night, Jennifer sat cross-legged on the couch, laptop open on her knees. She glanced over and caught the look on my face. Your mom again? I nodded. She misses the ATM. Jennifer didn't laugh. She just closed her laptop and moved closer. You know, if you ever want to say something to them, really say it, not to fix it, just to be heard. I'd support that. I looked at her. Really looked. I think part of me had been waiting for someone to tell me that being angry didn't make me ungrateful. That having boundaries didn't make me selfish. That finally saying no didn't erase the years I spent saying yes. I nodded. Maybe I do need to say something. The next morning, I wrote an email. Not to Derek. Not to Mom. But to both of them. One message. One version of the truth. Subject for what it's worth. Hi Mom. Hi Derek. I'm not writing this to fight. I'm not writing it to guilt trip or shame or make anyone feel bad. I'm writing this because I need you both to understand something. For the last 8 years, I've been the person who picked up the pieces. Who sent the money? Who made the phone calls? Who handled the paperwork? Who showed up? Not once. Not twice. But dozens, hundreds of times. And I never asked for credit. I never asked for praise. I certainly never asked to be put on a pedestal. But I also didn't ask to be invisible. When I stood in that house, the one my money helped you buy, Derek, and I saw that welcome board, and I wasn't on it, that told me everything. Then the catering bill. As if the invisible brother would just silently pay again. That was the moment I realized I wasn't family. I was a service. And I'm done being a service. I'm not angry. Not anymore. I'm just done. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to agree with it. But you do have to respect it. Connor. I didn't expect a response. But Derek replied an hour later. It was short. Derek. You didn't have to make us feel small just to feel seen. I didn't write back. Because I wasn't trying to make anyone feel small. I was just finally stepping out of the shadow. Jennifer and I printed the spreadsheet. The one with the $73,400 breakdown. We signed it, notarized it, and mailed it to ourselves, sealed and timestamped. Just in case anything ever came up legally. We also opened a new savings account. Just for us. Titled it, Morrison Family Fund. Not for them, for us. That Sunday, I took Jennifer to the park we used to walk through before our wedding. We sat on a bench under the same tree where I had first told her. You're the only one who sees me. I took her hand. I think I'm ready to be more than the guy who fixes things. She smiled. You always were. And that's when I realized. Maybe the Real welcome board wasn't at Derek's house. It was here. Where someone had always saved me a place. It was late May when I got a text from Rachel. Short. Polite. Polished. Rachel. Would you be open to meeting for coffee? Just the two of us. No pressure. No Derek. I stared at the message for a while. Jennifer glanced up from her book on the couch. Rachel? I nodded. She says no Derek. Just coffee. Jennifer considered that. You think she wants to apologize? I think she wants to negotiate. But I agreed. Not out of curiosity. Not out of lingering guilt. But because I wanted to see the shape of things now that the dust had settled. I wanted to know if the silence was growth or strategy. We met at a little cafe halfway between my office and their new apartment. She was already seated when I arrived, hair pulled back, latte untouched. She looked tired. Not performative tired, the real kind. The kind you wear in your shoulders and under your eyes when the illusion of control has cracked. She stood when I walked in. We didn't hug. Just nodded and Saturday. Thanks for coming, she said. Her voice was quieter than I remembered. I sipped my coffee and waited. She didn't launch into it. She hesitated. Picked at her napkin. Finally said, I think I owe you some honesty. I raised my eyebrows. About? She inhaled slowly. Derek told me you'd offered the money. For the house. That it was your idea. My mouth didn't move. She looked embarrassed. He said you insisted on helping? That you had some big bonus or inheritance, and you wanted to do something generous. He made it sound like you were practically throwing money at us. Of course he did. I asked once, before we moved in, why your name wasn't on any of the documents. He said you didn't want it to be. That's dumb. But not because it was new. Because it confirmed what I'd always suspected. I nodded slowly. That's not what happened. I know that now. She looked down at her cup. We sold the house, she said quietly. I heard. Lost money on it. Not a lot, but enough. I waited. She looked up again, meeting my eyes. I didn't come here to ask for anything. I came here because I think I got caught up in the version of Derek he presents. The I've got it under control version. And I enabled it. I told myself you were just the stable older brother who liked helping. That it made you feel useful. But standing in that kitchen, watching you get handed the catering bill, I realized. She trailed off. Tried again. I realized I wouldn't want to be treated that way. I wouldn't want to be that invisible. We sat in silence. I'm sorry, she said. And to her credit, she didn't follow it with but. She didn't pivot. Didn't ask for anything. Just let it sit. I nodded. Thank you for saying that. We talked for a few more minutes. About neutral things, work, the apartment, her job at the gallery. She didn't mention Derek again. Neither did I. When we parted, she said, I don't know what he'll do next. But I told him if he keeps trying to guilt you, he's going to lose a lot more than just money. That was the last time I heard from her. The summer rolled in warm and full of small joys. Jennifer and I spent weekends at the lake, took long drives, stayed up late watching movies and talking about baby names. One afternoon, I got a small envelope in the mail. Inside was a card. No return address. No signature. It read, You were right. I wasn't immediate family. I was just immediately convenient. I see that now. The handwriting was Derek's. Jennifer and I bought a house in September. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a little backyard, a covered porch. Modest. Ours. At the housewarming, Jennifer made a board. Nothing fancy, just a corkboard with photos of the move-in, our first dinner on the floor, friends helping us unpack. And in the center, one big square. Welcome home, Connor. My parents didn't come. Derek didn't call. And for the first time, I didn't feel the ache of their absence. I felt something else entirely. Peace. Autumn came fast that year. The leaves shifted from green to fire red seemingly overnight, and the wind carried that crispness that makes you crave soup and quiet. Jennifer was nesting. She'd say she wasn't, but I knew better. Every weekend she picked a new project: pantry organization, bathroom shelves, new throw pillows for the couch. I didn't mind. I liked the way the house felt full of intention. We had dinners on the porch. We laughed more. Slept better. Fought less. It's strange how removing a single source of stress, just one person, one expectation, one monthly crisis, can change the emotional climate of your entire life. I hadn't heard from Derek in over a month. No texts. No new numbers. No late-night drama. It was like he'd finally taken the hint. Then, one Saturday, Jennifer found the box. She was digging through the closet in our guest room, looking for an old winter coat, and called out, Connor? Did you know we had a banker's box labeled Morrison, archive shoved behind the paint cans? I walked in. The box was dusty. My name on the label and my handwriting. I didn't remember putting it there. We carried it to the dining table and opened it. It was full of paper. Old receipts, bank statements, loan agreements, some handwritten, some typed. Notes from Derek. IOUs scribbled on notebook paper. Birthday cards from our parents with messages like, Thanks for helping your brother out again. We're so lucky to have you. It was like discovering a time capsule of all the ways I'd vanished over the years. Jennifer sat beside me, leafing through them slowly. This one's dated the day after our honeymoon. She murmured, holding up a check stub. $600 to Derek for emergency rent. I stared at it. I had no memory of that. I must have done it automatically. That's why we canceled the wine tasting tour. She said gently. You told me work got too busy. My jaw tightened. We kept flipping. Here was the transfer for his emergency dental work. The deposit for the failed business idea. The weekend loan for Rachel's birthday getaway that they forgot to pay back. Every document was a breadcrumb on the trail of my own erasure. Then we found the note. A letter from Derek, dated about a year ago. It was folded into fourths, yellowing slightly at the creases. Connor, you really came through for me. Again. I honestly don't know what I'd do without you. You're the safety net. You're the guy who fixes things. One day, I'll pay it back. I mean that. Until then, I'm lucky you're my brother. Jennifer held it up. Do you believe he meant that? She asked. I stared at the handwriting. At the loop of the G in lucky. At the tear stain on the bottom corner I hadn't noticed until now. Maybe, I said. But I don't think he understands what pay it back actually means. Later that night, I scanned every page in that box. I created a PDF. Backed it up to the cloud. Labeled it. For memory, not revenge. And then I shredded every single document. Jennifer watched me do it. Page by page, strip by strip. What made you keep all that? She asked. I paused. Because part of me thought I'd need proof. That no one would believe me if I ever told the truth about what it cost. And now I don't care if they believe me. I know what it cost. That's enough. A few weeks later, we hosted Thanksgiving. Just us and close friends. People who brought side dishes and stayed late. Who helped clean up and argued over board games and laughed until someone snorted wine out their nose. No one asked for money. No one handed me a bill. No one made me feel like a background character in my own life. Jennifer made a toast. She clinked her glass and said, to choosing where we belong. To drawing lines and painting walls and keeping receipts when we need to, and burning them when we're ready. Everyone laughed, not knowing the full context. But I looked at her, and I felt it in my bones. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't the dependable one. I was just me. Visible. Wanted. Enough. It was Christmas Eve when the knock came. Jennifer and I had just finished wrapping the last of the gifts, our modest little pile under the tree, warm mugs in our hands, the fireplace flickering softly in the corner. There was music playing. Not loud. Just enough to feel cozy. The knock was sharp. Too sharp to be a neighbor. Too deliberate to be a package delivery. Jennifer looked at me. I'll get it, I said. When I opened the door, Derek was standing there. He looked older. Like he'd aged 5 years in the last 5 months. His coat was too thin. His shoes were wet. He wasn't smiling. For a second, either of us spoke. Then, quietly, Hey. I didn't know where else to go. I didn't invite him in. He shifted awkwardly, glancing over my shoulder. I'm not here to ask for anything. I swear. I nodded, arms crossed. I guess I wanted to see you. See how you're doing. I leaned against the doorframe. I'm good. He nodded, like that stung a little. You look it. He rubbed his hands together, not from cold, but nerves. Rachel left, he said finally. Back in October. I waited. She said she couldn't watch me burn down everything and then blame you for the fire. I exhaled through my nose. Quiet. Controlled. And Mom stopped speaking to me. At least, and I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed sort of way. Still, I said nothing. I got a job. A new one. Full-time. No commissions. Just steady. That's good. He looked down at the steps. I don't know how to fix things with you. I don't think you can, I said. Because they're not broken. They were just never what I thought they were. His head snapped up. Connor, I'm not saying that to hurt you. I'm saying it because for years I gave and you took. And I let you. That wasn't a relationship. That was a pattern. He looked like he wanted to argue. I don't hate you, Derek. But I don't owe you anything either. And I'm done pretending like I do. A beat of silence stretched between us. Then another. He nodded slowly, swallowed hard. I deserve that. No. You earned it, I said gently. There's a difference. He looked down at the envelope in his hand. I hadn't noticed it before. I brought this, he said, holding it out. I hesitated. It's not money, he added quickly. It's just something I found when we moved. Something from when we were kids. I took it. Opened the flap. Inside was a Polaroid, us as kids, maybe 10 and 6. I was holding him on my back, both of us grinning, missing teeth. The corner of the photo was torn, but I remembered the moment. A family camping trip. We'd spent the whole afternoon catching frogs. On the back, in shaky kid handwriting. Best big brother. I'll help you someday. My chest ached. I looked up. Derek wasn't trying to manipulate. He wasn't making excuses. He just stood there, cold and small and still. I should go, he said. I just wanted to say Merry Christmas. He turned to leave. I didn't stop him. But I said, Merry Christmas, Derek. And maybe that was enough. That night, Jennifer curled into me on the couch, her head on my shoulder, the fire dying down to embers. You okay? She murmured. I thought about it. Yes, I said. For the first time in a long time, I think I really am. We sat there in the glow of our quiet little life. No drama. No invoices. No disappearing acts. Just two people, warm and whole, finally living on their own terms. And I realized I'd spent so long trying to earn a seat at someone else's table, I'd forgotten I could build my own. Turns out, it only takes 2 chairs. And a welcome board that finally has your name at the center.